Welcome to Your Healthy Kitchen from YRMC.
Hello, welcome to Your Healthy Kitchen. I'm your host, Rita Carey Rubin. Whether you are preparing healthy food for your family or just for yourself, some basic kitchen know-how not only saves time and money, it also makes cooking at home much more enjoyable. Since the healthiest foods on the plate, vegetables, fruits, garlic, onions, and herbs all require some sort of slicing, dicing, or other preparation before they can be turned into a delicious meal, it's really important to have and to learn to care for a good chef's knife. The costs of knives can range from reasonable to really expensive, but it's not necessary to buy the most expensive knife to be a good cook. However, if you plan to cook at home more often, it's a good idea to buy a knife that is both durable and comfortable to use. If you have the chance to go to a store that sells chef's knives, ask to try a few out. After all, the best knife in the world won't work well if it's too large or too uncomfortable or just too scary to use. Chef's knives come in a variety of lengths and weights and quality. An 8-inch knife is standard. But if you're new to cooking, you might try a shorter and lighter knife, like this Santoku style knife, or a chef's knife with a lighter and smaller blade. I've used my knives from anywhere from 5 to 20 years, and they've held up really well with a lot of use. Some are expensive, but others, like this knife made by Victorinox, those are the Swiss Army knife guys, these were very reasonable. The Victorinox consistently rates as one of the best bargain knives available. I found this for about $30. So shop around and find something that fits your experience, your hand, and your budget. Believe it or not, sharp knives are safer to use than dull ones. A dull knife won't cut food very well, which might require you to put more pressure on the knife as you use it. This extra force and pressure can cause a knife to slip and cut your fingers. A sharp knife slices easily with less pressure, but you still need to keep your fingers out of the way of the blade. New knives arrive super sharp and can stay that way for a long time with a little care. To keep your knife sharp, your fingers safe, and your experience in the kitchen positive, get into the habit of using a knife honing or straightening steel, like this one, every few days. The blade of a knife actually starts to bend to one side or the other as you use it. And with time, this makes a knife dull. A steel straightens out the slight bend in the blade, keeping it sharp for a longer period of time. So here's how you use a honing or a straightening steel to straighten the blade of your knife, maintain that sharp edge, and look very cool in your kitchen. So it's pretty easy. The idea is to run the blade of the knife just down the length of the steel a few times on one side and a few times on the other. But what's important is that you maintain about a 10 or 15 degree angle of the knife to the steel. So to see what that looks like, hold your knife next to the steel at a 90 degree angle, and then cut that in half to about 45, and then a little bit more than half again to 10 or 15 degrees. Another way to see what this looks like is to get a book of matches and hold that up next to the steel. Again, this is what about 15 degrees looks like. So to use the steel, we're going to maintain that 10 or 15 degree angle, and then we'll run the blade of the knife from the base of the blade to the tip, just down along the length of the steel. A couple times on one side, a couple times on the other. What's important when you do this is that you actually maintain a little bit of pressure on the knife as well. Knife manufacturers recommend about 4 pounds of pressure. And if you have a scale at home, like a postal scale or a digital scale, you can push down on that scale till it says 4 pounds and you'll get an idea of how much pressure that is. But if you don't have a scale, it's okay. You just want to give it some pressure and you should hear a little bit of a ping. You should actually hear that knife running along the length of the steel. So do this a couple times on one side, a couple times on the other. And if you do that every time you use your knife, it'll stay nice and sharp. There are some good videos online demonstrating how to use a honing steel, and links to 2 of these are provided for you on yrmc.org. Just click on Health Connect and you'll find the link to your healthy kitchen. Even the best knife will eventually get dull, however, and you will at some point need to sharpen your knives. So professional sharpening services are available, but there are also some really good tools out there for sharpening your knives at home. You know, one of the best and least expensive sharpening tools is this AccuSharp knife and tool sharpener. It only costs about $10, and with a little practice, it's really easy and safe to use. Other home sharpeners include 2 or 3 stage manual types, like this Chef's Choice, as well as a variety of electric sharpeners. A professional sharpening stone, like this, often produces the best results, but it does take a little bit of practice to learn to use. After all of your hard work sharpening and straightening your knives, be sure to protect them from getting nicked and dull in storage. I store my knives at home on a magnetic bar attached to a wall next to my stove. Plastic knife protectors, though, like these, work well if you store your knives in a drawer. So keeping your knife sharp and using your honing steel every day should really help you have more fun slicing and dicing all of those veggies in your kitchen. After all, it's a lot more fun to be able to do this with a tomato. Than this. In our next video, we'll talk about choosing and caring for cutting boards, another essential kitchen tool, and we'll practice some basic knife skills while making a delicious salad together. So we'll see you next time in your healthy kitchen. Happy slicing.